Da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-dum. What does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review, another special expansion review. Today I'm very excited for checking out Thurn and Taxi's Power and Glory. This is for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 plus. It'll take you about an hour to play. And Thurn and Taxi's Power and Glory is an expansion to the immensely popular Spiel des Jahres winner, Thurn and Taxis, in which you are going to be taking control of a German postal route worker or something and trying to get the most points by placing houses all across Germany and Europe and other different countries that I don't live in. Does this add enough to make it warrant a purchase, though? Let's open it up, and I'll tell you. Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Thurn and Taxi's Power and Glory. So first and foremost, we have our handy-dandy rule sheet. It is one-page, double-sided, full color, full of pictures, illustrations, examples. Very well done. I'll be up and running in no time at all, because it really doesn't change that much about Thurn and Taxis. I also forgot to mention in the pros and cons that this is one of the pros of the game. So I just wanted to mention that now. So in Thurn and Taxi's Power and Glory, you're going to be looking at the board and you're going to say, wow, this looks a lot like Thurn and Taxi's. That's because it pretty much is. And in fact, you're going to get a different board in this expansion, which has Holland and Hanover and Prussen and Hessen and other places that I don't know anything about personally. So yes, it looks very much the same, and cosmetically, it is very much the same. So I'm not going to go over the gameplay of the game, because really the gameplay is the exact same for the most part. You're going to be building routes, and then you're going to be placing houses on different routes, either all different colors or all the same color. Nearly none of that has changed, but I will be going over what is different. So first and foremost, you might notice this cool little horse. That is to decide player order. That person is the first player. That's pretty much it. Also, they have gotten rid of, I believe, what was called the Cartwright Special Ability. Now, the Cartwright Special Ability allowed you to jump up essentially 2 spots when you were creating a route. None of that is gone now, and also they have replaced the carriage altogether, and now you have a carriage with 2 horses. And this is very important. You'll notice that there are 2 little horseshoes right there, because you are going to have to have enough horses to get you from point A to point B. So in point A to point B is 4 city routes, then you're going to need 4 horses. It's 8 city routes, you're going to need 8 horses. Not 8 horse cards, just 8 of the little horseshoes in order to turn in your route and collect your houses. Another interesting difference is that there are now going to be some big cities spread around the map, which will just have 1 victory point on them. So we got Frankfurt, Bremen, Hamburg, and Lubbock up here. And when you go through those on your route, and when you close out your route, you can pick up 1 victory point per. So if you went here, here, and here, you could not collect all 3 on one go round. You would only be able to collect 1. However, throughout the game, you'll be able to pick these up and instantly score 1 point. The first person to do that is going to get 1 point. That also means now without the Cartwright that you are going to be able to create longer routes than 7, which would trigger the end of the game. Now you have one that goes all the way up to 8, so you can score 5 points if you're the first person to get an 8 route. Other than that, there's not really too much of a difference. Aside from the amount of horseshoes that are on the cards, you're still on your turn picking up cards, laying down cards in your route, and then potentially scoring points on route. You still have the same special abilities of wiping everything out, drawing 2 from here, or playing 2 on your route. But the difference is, now when you play a card down on your route, instead of actually playing a city, you can flip that city over and just use it for its horses, which I'll talk more about in the pros and cons. But needless to say, I'm very negative about that. But that, in a nutshell, is all you're going to be seeing change in Thurn and Taxi's Power and Glory. Alright then, Thurn and Taxi's Power and Glory expansion from Rio Grande Games. What are my final thoughts? Go over the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the pro side, the game is still fun. I mean, this is Thurn and Taxis, but with a couple bells and whistles here, which is good, because Thurn and Taxis is a game that I really enjoyed. It's probably in my top 100, 200 games. Really enjoy the game a lot, and this just adds a couple new snippets here and there. Also, if you live in any of these countries, I'm sure this map is more appealing to you. Also, some of the things sound cool. Like the horses sounds like a really cool idea. How you have to have the horses to power your carriage, because apparently that fixes something that was game-breaking in the first game that I never experienced in my 10, 20 games I've played of that game. But apparently there was some game-breaking thing that you could do, and the carriage just fixes that. So that's great. Game-breaking is bad. Components-wise, the components are nice. The box hasn't set itself on fire or anything like that. No recalls on the box. And that's about what I got. I'm not going to say too much nice about this expansion because I cannot recommend this expansion to anyone unless, of course, you're a collector of games and you don't really play them. You just collect them because you like to have them. Because this is a really bad expansion. Let me just start right from the get-go and say, first and foremost, you have everything you need here pretty much to play Thurn and Taxis except for the little houses. And you can easily replace those with just about anything else. So this is less of an expansion and more of its own game, really. All you got to do is throw in a couple components and boom, you got yourself a game of Thurn and Taxis. But let's talk about what they added into the game and my thoughts on them. So first, the coins. The coins, when you go to the big cities and you collect them, the coins are worth a victory point. That's kind of cool. I actually dig that idea a little bit. I don't feel like it changes that much, but it is still a neat concept, and I'm not against that. So I'll give that one a tentative thumbs up. Next, we have getting rid of the carriages. Getting rid of the carriages and just having the horse system, which this is the biggest change in the game. And at first, I thought it was a cool idea, and then I played it, and then I noticed one important thing was missing from my game of Thurn and Taxis, and that was any tension at all. One of my favorite aspects of the original Thurn and Taxis is the fact that you could lose a round. If you needed a specific city or two specific cities and they're not on the board, you're like, oh no, what am I going to do? Then you could use your special ability. You could wipe out all 6 cards and you could get 6 new cards there. And you would flip them over one by one and you're like, oh guys, come on, come up with that city, come up with that city, come up with that city. And you're like, oh, it did come up, or it didn't come up. And then you had the dreaded face down draw where you could draw the top of the card face down and hope and pray to the Thurn and Taxi gods that that was the city that you needed, and you drew it, and no, it's not the city you need. And then you were wiped out, at least for that round, and you had to get rid of your cities and start anew. Not so much in this game, because now you have the city you don't need, and you can just flip it over and turn it into a horse. And it's just that simple. So there's no tension at all, at any point throughout the game. Because literally, you can just wait and wait and wait until your chosen city comes up, and you can hoard other cards, and you can just lay down the horses. So you can just lay down horses until you eventually get to the cities you want, which means there's no real tension here. It's just a race more to just get from point A to point B and get your stuff down and collect the things. And it's a fun game, don't get me wrong. Thurn and Taxis Power and Glory, playing this game is still enjoyable. But without that sense of tension, it's a less enjoyable game. And so I have to review this from an odd circumstance where I actually enjoyed playing Thurn and Taxis Power and Glory, but I still can't recommend it to anyone because I enjoyed the game less than I did just playing the base game of Thurn and Taxis. And this really adds nothing that you can just add to the base game. This is almost a standalone game. Just consider this more like a map pack for Ticket to Ride or something that adds some new fancy twists and turns. And this is crap. I'm so glad that expansions like this are not prevalent in our hobby. You know, there's some out there, but for the most part, most expansions expand the game, the base game. Not just say, hey, here's a whole new game. You need some of your old components from the old game to mix in with this one. And just, that really frustrates me. Because, man, I was excited about this expansion. I was pumped to play more Thurn and Taxis and navigate my way through the German postal system. And this expansion completely let me down. So, yeah, overall, if you enjoy Thurn and Taxis, this is not an expansion I recommend for you because it doesn't add anything to your base game of Thurn and Taxis. If you don't enjoy Thurn and Taxis, this does not add enough to recommend. And so literally the only people I can recommend it to is people who like to collect games and like to have every single game ever. Moving onward, let's just talk about what else is new in here because I do want to cover it. There's a new 8 tile that you get if you have an 8 route, which scores you more points, which just makes sense. You have the little horse, which when you get out, you'll be excited, like, oh, what's this horse do? And then you'll just find out it's just a first player marker, and your excitement will instantly die, just like my excitement for this expansion died. So overall, Thurn and Taxis Power and Glory, this is quite possibly the worst expansion I've ever played, because it doesn't even really expand the base game of Thurn and Taxis. So, yeah, steer clear. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to click on the subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know, have you ever had an eating disorder? For me personally, I like to binge eat a lot. This really gets exacerbated when I drink heavily because I like to do things in excess. So I'll binge drink and then I'll binge eat and then I'll binge drink more. And it's just a really bad cycle. But, well, if you have any eating disorders, let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.